Venerable sirs, dear friends, it's a great honor for me that to present my very little knowledge about the main issue today here. Especially thanks to Namado Hsiang for his kind invitation. He came to Taiwan and presented the invitation in person for Venerable Mingguang and myself. And he is at the age of 86. He worked by himself. He carried the bags by himself. I thought I'm 70, I'm old. But when I met Namado Hsiang, I said I'm still very young. So thank you very much. And today I think this conference gives us a great opportunity about something. Especially for me, yesterday was very, very inspiring. That when the Prime Minister of India came here and gave his speech, he's very unusual. I have heard many lectures from the politician leaders, and he is an exception. Now in Asia, many countries try to put the effort, all the effort, to promote the economic development. But what I heard here yesterday is that we must promote more, to put more energy to promote spirituality, following the ancient Asian wisdoms. That is something very special. And we must listen to the voice. We must listen, follow this advice to find the proper direction for humankind. We should not get lost. So this is the first impression that yesterday when I hear the speech from the Prime Minister. And the second thing that yesterday I heard that we must go beyond the ideology and come back to the philosophical discussion, so we can find the truth. We can follow the truth. But if you follow the ideology, then there must be a lot of conflict, no matter what reason you talk about. So this is something also very, very inspiring to me, especially when we talk about today's theme, the conference. Hinduism and Buddhism, if we think about that how these old traditions, when we talk to each other, if we insist our own ideology, how can we have the successful dialogue? In different system of ideology, the teachings of the religion become dogma, and it becomes the gap, from each other. So this is something very, very meaningful. We come back to the philosophy, come back to the ancient wisdoms. So this is something also very meaningful, It's very important torchlight. And another thing is, he mentioned, to me, it's first time I hear this kind of a term. He said, we are not only here to talk about the climate change. We have to think in deep. We should think about climate justice. That is also something very special. We talk climate change and we always think how to reduce, the CO2. But what about something behind? The climate justice. And also, I think I already have a very long paper, but I don't know to read it. My friend Dr. Mitra and Prof. Hsiang, they advise me, don't talk about academic paper. We must talk from heart, just like as the Prime Minister, not talk out of his brain, but out of his mind. And that is something that when we have the dialogue here, we must talk mind to mind. And that is something that, our ancestors, no matter Buddha or the, many great masters in the history, they always talk to people mind to mind, not by brain. Brain sometimes create very much gap. So therefore, I want to share with all of you first point is the Prime Minister mentioned Asian century. We can see, during the last 50 years, the very core of the world has transferred from Atlantic Ocean to Pacific Ocean. It's so clear. So you may call it Pacific Indian Ocean period or Asian century. Especially, I think, I'm from Chinese background, Chinese cultural background. And we found a lot of common ground between Buddhism, Hinduism, and Chinese cultures. Especially Chinese culture has its own long history. But in the year, almost more than 2,000 years, when Buddhism came to China, it's highly influenced on Chinese culture. And the historical fact is, Chinese people spent 700 years to translate the Buddhist sutras into Chinese, 700 years. And also very important factor is, so many great masters came from India to China. The only reason for them is they want to share the wisdom, the Indian wisdom, with Chinese. They climb the mountains, Himalayas, and they go through the Marine Silk Road to Guangzhou to many cities. So as a Chinese, I'm always very moved. How so many great masters, they go to China. And also for Chinese, we try very much effort to preserve the Buddhist tradition very well. Not only the Sangha tradition, especially, the Bhikkhuni tradition, well preserved in Chinese Buddhism. So this is something that we must never forget. So when we talk about the Asian century, today it's a great opportunity for us that how can we do the watering on the deep roots between India and China. Not only that, it's when we talk about China, it's not China. It's a Chinese cultural field. And also when you talk about India, it's not India. It's huge field that the people learn from each other. And there's one time that an Indian guru came to Taiwan. I was teaching at Hsiang University, and I invited him to give a lecture. And he said, ancient time, 5,000 years ago, we had many gurus went to China to learn. And also many Chinese masters came to India to learn. So this is something that we must continue. And today, this forum, this conference provides a new platform to improve this kind of activity in our period. So this is something that I don't want to talk too much about the evidence, how the academic evidence there, that we have a very strong common ground in terms of culture. And the second thing that I want to talk is, when we talk about the climate justice, there are 2 points I want to add on. The first point is, climate justice. You can see, the rich people, the rich industries, they create a lot of CO2, and the poor people breathe in. That is so unfair. So how can we create a system to maintain the equality, to maintain, the ecosystem? So not the rich people under the capitalism that they created so much CO2, and let the poor people get the suffering, the result, the bitter result. So this is something that when we talk about the climate justice in terms of the problem created by the capitalism, I think we have to think about the true democracy. Now, finish? Okay, 2 more minutes. Okay? And another issue about the climate justice is how to go beyond materialism. It's very important. So from yesterday's Prime Minister talk, and I found that there are a lot of things that we can work together. So anyway, this conference is very important, very meaningful. You provide a new opportunity for every one of us here that we have to work together and work harder. And every one of us must commit a strong vow that how can we create a spiritual Asian culture from now on. Thank you very much.